trust me, when people go to war or go to prison, they catch religion. But and so again, football.
Right, but do they quote unquote catch religion because they're being sincere, or is that a coping mechanism? Just by that statement right there, it seems that you might not have yourself a true understanding of what a spiritual relationship with the Most High is supposed to be about. What you stated is almost the equivalent of having a chick that you slide off with when you're going through a dry spell. That's not real love. Real love is what you do with and for somebody, no matter what your state is, whether it's prosperity or adversity. So that's what the Most High requires, is your consistency. And that's part of the problem that Aaron Rodgers has, is that he's never had someone who's been able to explain the scriptures to him appropriately. There are too many people trying to hustle religion because they're dependent on it for their own psychological well-being. And sometimes it's necessary for people to depend on spiritual leanings to maintain their stability. There's nothing particularly wrong with that, but that cannot be your default state of being. You have to be stable in order to accept a higher level of stability. If you're unstable, hopefully you can accept the lowest form of stability, but in order for you to ascend up the levels, you have to embrace stability. That means that you have to embrace the repercussions that will come upon you whenever you decide to do the wrong thing. And that's the problem with cats like Aaron Rodgers. He wants to dictate to the Most High what the Most High's protocol should be and what his thought process should be. And that's never going to be the case. Aaron Rodgers is a self-worshipper.
Is often equated to war and a military mindset. You're about to go something through so tough. And if you don't tap into your optimism that a lot of times is driven by your faith in God, you're not going to survive.
You may go to war and catch religion, but more people have went to war because of religion. But I'm not going to go there as well. So,
Hey, look.
That's a relatively good attempt at a point, but the fact of the matter is that all wars are fought over natural resources. There are just certain concepts and viewpoints that are blamed for why people go to war. But all wars are fought over natural resources. Even the Crusades were fought because they actually wanted the Holy Land. Yes, we can say that it was due to spiritual beliefs, but they actually just wanted land. They wanted to gain back access to the Middle East. For those of you who don't know, the first Crusades were led by the Franks. The Franks were actually Israelites of the tribe of Judah, as well as many of the Normans who had settled into England. They were of the tribe of Judah and Benjamin. They were practicing Catholics, but they also wanted access to the Middle East because they understood where their lineage was from.
and get you all kinds of ways.
You made the comparison of Will Hunting, and in the movie, Matt Damon, who was intellectually curious, didn't have religion or faith in much, and then he found earthly love, and he chased after it, and it happened.
And you know why the film ended with Matt Damon driving down the road to pursue the woman? Because if that film had went another 2 hours, had that been a 4-hour movie instead of a 2-hour movie, it would have ended with them getting divorced. One of the best lines that I've ever heard in any film was in the film Mr. and Mrs. Smith, starring Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, where Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie are dancing, and Angelina Jolie says that happy endings are for movies that haven't finished yet.
Happy ending because of it. Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, loves football. I watch this guy. I've heard from teammates. The guy is a tremendous competitor, and he said for the first time in years he felt happy this season. He felt like he was having fun again. I think that you can build a faith structure outside of the constructs of religion and still be inspirational and still have faith in something bigger than you.
Rick, and I don't disagree with you. I just said faith tends to be the strongest supplier of optimism. There's other ways to be optimistic. He's cynical. And one of the other things I said very clear was, I just want to be clear here. I think this guy is on an incredible jump.
Jason Whitlock, you should spend more time reading your scriptures. You'll be able to defend your points better if you actually had a foundation for many of your assertions. When you just start using empty rhetoric on TV trying to push sentiment, which basically is what religion is, it's very difficult to grasp people. When you can cite scriptures, then at least they have a reference.
I'm glad he's talking about this publicly, engaging in these types of conversations. I can't say I haven't been exactly where he is.
I doubt that, Jason Whitlock. I doubt if you've been exactly where he is. Because once again, the reason why Aaron Rodgers is publicly questioning the concept of the Most High in the Bible and the quote-unquote church system or religion per se is because he's angry that he has been, in his view, forced to repress who he actually is sexually, publicly. And so has Danica Patrick. They both have been living lies in the mainstream sports world because of religion and modern conventionalities that have been established due to religion being, to a degree, kind of a crooked offshoot of the scriptures.
I've had these questions.
Brother, I promise you once again that you have never been exactly where Aaron Rodgers is right now.
How can someone omnipotent? And I had a very immature understanding of Christianity at that time.
Once again, whenever people start railing about the Most High being omnipotent and omniscient and still allowing evil to transpire on the earth, is because they have no understanding of the Most High. When you're all encompassing, that means that you have all qualities to the degree where a man is not fit to describe what qualities you should have, because you have all qualities. You are the creator of all things and you are the end of all things. So it's mankind who has chosen to impute certain qualities on the Lord, thereby imputing certain restrictions on him. It's almost like a scouting report. If you have a scouting report against a football team and you say this wide receiver, he's very fast, he's great coming out of his breaks, but he struggles with physicality, you are now putting a restriction or limitation on that receiver. Or sometimes you place restrictions on people just by omission. If your friend asks you, well, you finally met that girl, what was she like? And you say, okay, well, she was funny, and you leave it at that, he's going to assume that she was not very attractive. Whenever people who question the Most High start to talk about, well, if he's supposed to be all good, well, who said that the Most High was all good? That's something that's taught in the church system. In the Bible, it tells you in Isaiah 45:7, the Most High says that he creates the good and the evil, the light and the darkness, right? He said, I, the Lord, do all these things. So you have to first grasp what the Most High is. He is all encompassing. Therefore, you're not even truly fit to ask him questions. You're only fit to take decrees and demands from him. Once you accept that, that's how things become far easier. The Most High in his great generosity has given us standards of living, ways to conduct ourselves by, so that we can be fruitful. Especially many of us in the so-called black community have chosen to reject those instructions, and that's why we suffer. And on top of that, we refuse to acknowledge who we actually are.
And ask these questions. I don't know where his journey is going to wind up. I know he's on it. He's in a...
I think I have an idea where his journey is going to end up or wind up, Jason Whitlock, with him on TV saying, I'm here, I'm queer, deal with it. Allegedly.
Actually curious. I'm having this conversation to say, hey, Aaron, tap into some optimism, man. Look around at the guys that are doing it at the highest level, the way you want to do it. They're a bit more optimistic than you. I think you're smart people, and it's because of his intelligence. You can become very cynical. When you know the conclusion and you're waiting on other people to even find out what the question is, and you already know the answer, it's frustrating.
Well, I think that we also have to respect that we all wear it different. Like, some people are very happy, but they just like have this look to them that's like, what?
Yes, it's called contentment. Many people take it as an affront when you're not smiling like a clown in front of them all day. That really is a reflection of their own insecurities. They need everyone to present themselves or project themselves how they do. That normally is a red flag that that person has a series of mental issues that they have to deal with, that they allow to emanate from themselves in the form of discomfort with others or alleged discomfort with others. It's something called empathy, when you're able to understand that people around you are different, and that you have to understand how to dwell in that environment with people around you who are different, as long as they're respectful.
Going on behind you, they're despondent, but they're still internally happy. Not everyone walks in the room and says, how you doing? Like, we rank that guy as the happiest, but you know what? Maybe that guy is trying to really protect from some things.
But I'm not even trying to rank him. I'm just trying to say, what's a better leadership model? What will work for a quarterback and inspire that team? I care less, really. It's just like you have to adopt some behaviors that fit the job that you have, that allow you to do the job as most effectively.
Jason, you're talking about Aaron Rodgers like, once again, like he's Jay Cutler. The cat has been extremely successful. I mean, we cannot evaluate him like we would a quarterback who's never done anything in the NFL. Once again, I understand where you're trying to go. I just think that you're on the wrong track with this one, because at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers has major issues, and there are major reasons why he's trying to call out the Most High and declare war on the Most High. And it has very little to do with his lack of belief in himself or his lack of optimism. There's already plenty of precedent to show that he can galvanize his team.
State, adjustment in his personality, optimism might be a cure. Coming up!
But anyway, that's basically it on that, brothers. I'll probably be touching on some additional things in an epilogue for this video. Okay, so now, brothers, this is going to be the epilogue to the Aaron Rodgers video pertaining to the series The War on God, or The War on the Most High. And the reason why this video needed to be made is because I believe, and I'm going to assert right now to many of you brothers out there, that Aaron Rodgers, quote unquote, coming out of the closet, metaphorically speaking, against the Most High, is really just an indirect expression of frustration at his own inability or fear of coming out in reality in regards to his sexuality. Both he and his so-called girlfriend, Danica Patrick, or Daniel Patrick, as I prefer to call that person. Because let's be for real, I mean, Danica Patrick looks like her favorite dinosaur is to lick a lot of puss. But we'll leave it at that. Once again, the story that is presented to the public or to the masses by many of these top shelf so-called athletes, entertainers, etc., is very rarely actually what it is behind closed doors or behind the curtain. And many of these top shelf media members, or quote unquote elite level members of the media, they know about these things, but they can't blow the whistle because it's not time yet. It's also not convenient. The media, I believe, is going to work in concert with these athletes that are quote unquote bisexual or homosexual down the line to try to pressure the public into accepting these life choices. But I believe that it's going to be a coordinated event. People like Aaron Rodgers and Queen Latifah, and many of these other homosexuals and lesbians and transgenders and pansexuals, etc., I believe that they're all going to try to come out of the closet at once, just to see how society reacts or responds. But it's almost like preparing a large piece of meat, like a rack of lamb or a quote-unquote Christmas turkey or something like that. You have to season it and tenderize it first. You just can't eat it. That's how they view the public. The public has to be massaged generation by generation into accepting these ideologies of Luciferianism. But just looking at this photo right here, this is Mr. Aaron Rodgers with his so-called roommate or significant other per se, Kevin Lanfleece. Many people are aware of this photo and the dynamic that has been surmised between these two people. It is what it is. I mean, if you're a spiritual man, you could look at the countenance of a couple of dudes and pretty much be able to tell what's going on. I mean, for the most part. And it definitely looks like Aaron Rodgers and Mr. Kevin Lanfleece, when they get in the car, they prefer to drive stick. I'll leave it at that. So now here's Mr. Aaron Rodgers and his alleged quote-unquote girlfriend, Danica Patrick. Now look at these two right here in this photograph, brothers. Do they look like real boyfriend and girlfriend, or do they look more like brother and sister? Or maybe woman and her gay friend? That's really what the shit look like. Or lesbian and her gay friend. Look at the body language. Look how Aaron Rodgers is holding his barrel of apples. I mean, come on, Aaron. Let your shoulders spread out a little bit, man. I mean, shit, you're a quarterback. You play in the NFL. The hell your shoulders so damn slumped for? Look like Danica Patrick is stronger than him. Look how she holding this. Look how she holding the barrel of apples. Now, this is a photograph that I found very interesting. This is Miss Danica Patrick with her one-time quote-unquote husband. I believe this is a photo of her and her husband. And you can see the level of disinterest between the two. Once again, supposedly, Danica Patrick's husband filed for divorce, or they divorced. I'm not quite sure if he's the one who filed or she was the one who filed, but from what I read, it was him. and supposedly he filed for divorce because he was tired of catching her in sexual acts with other women. Brothers, let me say this. For a lot of the lesbians in Hollywood, whether it be in the sports world or the cinematic industry, aka the movie business, or the singing world, the chick that they have by their side that they claim is their trainer, like their physical trainer, helping them to stay in shape, workouts, etc., that's normally actually their closet girlfriend. But once again, just look at this photo right here. There is no type of sexual chemistry existing between these two people. It's pretty much, she's just looking off into the distance like, damn, I wish I could have me a fur burger right now. And he's like, damn, how much longer do I have to put up with this act? Standing here with this little Oompa Loompa who wishes that she could drive. Now, brothers, you know that if you engage in any type of PDA or, public displays of affection, as they call it, normally if you guys are going to do that, you can tell that there's an extreme amount of attraction between the two. I'm not sensing that at all in this photo right here. It looks like Aaron Rodgers is leaning in with his eyes closed, and he's whispering to Daniel Patrick, just let me know when it's over. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Here they go again. Looks like a princess kissing a frog. And by the way, I don't know which one is the princess and which one is the frog. Daniel has on green, so I guess I'll say that Danica's the frog here. I don't know. But once again, just looking at how they're kissing, they're not even opening their mouths. It's like how a mother might kiss her 7-year-old son right before she lets him head into school. Now, this was a very interesting article that I found on Terez Owens' website. For those of you who don't know, this is a quote-unquote Caucasian homosexual, what they call a quote-unquote gossip columnist, but oftentimes it is these people who have the inside track on a lot of what's going on amongst these members of the Hollywood sect. So he states here on his website, Aaron Rodgers and Danica Patrick's first staged kiss, all set. And I agree with it because I could feel that same vibe, that there's no way in the world that these two people actually have any amorous feelings for one another. They're clearly just going through the motions right now. And the date on this is a couple of days before Valentine's Day of 2018. It states here, Danica Patrick and her PR machine are good at getting what she wants. On Saturday, Danica announced that Aaron Rodgers will be attending the Daytona 500 on February 18th. He's going to be here to support me and he's excited, Patrick told the Associated Press. I'm excited to show him what I do. Yeah, I bet you are. Are you excited to show him what you could do behind the wheel? Or are you excited to show him what you do with your female groupies after you finish 122nd in a 121 car race? From our source, the only catch is that Aaron didn't quite agree to it yet. Aaron wants to stay out of the limelight, but that doesn't work for Danica. She wants to be out front and center. In other words, what they're really trying to say is that Aaron Rodgers wants to have more time to go play with his real friends. He does not want to have too many scheduled play dates with a closet lesbian who's just looking for attention by dating one of the bigger name quarterbacks in the NFL. Because that's what they do. When you have homosexual athletes, the first thing that they will do is have their agent call one of these Hollywood PR agents. And they'll have the homosexual athlete hooked up in a fake relationship with one of these pansexual actresses out in Hollywood, or Hollyweird per se. That's why before he was quote-unquote dating Danica Patrick, who was Aaron Rodgers supposedly in a relationship with? Olivia Munn. As I already stated in the video, Olivia Munn, of course everything I'm saying is alleged, Olivia Munn is a pansexual. She goes out on vacation trips with Gabrielle Union. So birds of a feather, they flock together. And that's how you're able to, to put things into their proper place. That's why Aaron Rodgers is so angry at the Most High. He's angry at the Most High because he knows that the book of the knowledge of the Most High, the Bible, condemns his thoughts and his deeds. But he should not take it that way because none of us are perfect. The Bible is for correction. Some of us never knew that certain things that we did in our youth was incorrect. But as you mature, the first thing that a mature man does, or a wizened man does, is seek the straight and narrow path, because that's the only path that's fruitful in the long run for yourself and for your progeny if you're blessed with children. What a wicked man does is constantly seek the crooked way, the crooked path, so that he could hide. And that's Mr. Aaron Rodgers, but it is what it is with him. Once again, my channel is a pro-truth channel geared towards the so-called black man. That's my concern. We're supposed to be our concern, because we must prep for what's coming when it comes to this society. We can already see that it's spiraling downward because of a lot of these Luciferian doctrines that they're pushing on the masses of the people. The so-called black man is supposed to separate himself from a lot of this nonsense. And in doing so, you're going to find yourself strengthened. But anyway, let's get back to what it states here. Aaron wants to stay out of the limelight, but that doesn't work for Danica. She wants to be out front and center. And what Danica wants, she gets. Even if it means shoving it in her ex's of 5 years' face. Sorry, Ricky, consider yourself lucky. You dodged a bullet. Get your cameras ready for Aaron and Danica's first public kiss at the Daytona 500. It should be a hot mess. We can only imagine what Danica has planned next for Aaron. Signed, Therese Owens. In other words, Therese Owens knows why they're together. It's a fake business relationship. They're both homosexual. Now, this is a photo that I found of Danica Patrick. Unfortunately, it's a bit cut off. But as you can see, her left hand is doing the horned hand sign, or what they call the quote-unquote hang 10 hand sign for Baal the bull. All of these top shelf entertainers venerate the bull god, or the god of the sun, also known as Baal. Now, some of them are on different levels of understanding, but they all embrace and immerse themselves in the Luciferian ideologies, because basically it all relates to Crowleyism. Once they research and study Aleister Crowley, and they learn that his main credo was do what thou wilt, or do whatever you want, they love it, because now they're finally quote-unquote free. That's what Kobe Bryant kept trying to push when he was trying to push his silly doctrine on the children. They'll claim that they're trying to free you or liberate you. Now, this is a close-up of Danica Patrick's face. As you can see, she has that 5 o'clock shadow mustache that all these little lesbians have whenever they've been diving down into some coochie a little bit too much. Eventually, it's going to come out, though, that she's probably dating her trainer. You'll see. Or someone along those lines. Something along those lines. But she's not with no damn Aaron Rodgers. Here goes Aaron Rodgers, and pay very close attention to how they have situated this photograph. They have Aaron with the one hand in the pocket, the thumb sticking out. Masonic pose, but he's also trapped in the corner. What is that supposed to symbolize or communicate? Aaron Rodgers always feels like his back is against the wall. He feels like he cannot express himself how he wants to express himself. He can't move how and where he wants to move. Please understand, brothers, that these photographers take certain photographs for a particular reason. And before these photographs are submitted to the magazine to accompany the article, they run them by the subject. So Aaron Rodgers has to look at all the photographs and say, okay, you can use that one. Here's another very interesting photograph that I saw. Aaron Rodgers, he's reading a book called What is the Bible? Now, brothers, as I've told you many times, people who hate the Bible normally have never read it. But what they will do is they'll read a book about the Bible to see if they can find any holes, because their main intention is to attack and harass a lot of these Bible thumpers. Normally people who just go to church and make a lot of grandiose gestures with the Bible in their hands, but they themselves have never read the Bible. So people like Aaron Rodgers, who are naysayers, or as the scriptures call them, backbiters, people of that type, gainsayers, they'll try to approach churchgoers and confound them with some of the little factoids that they would have read in books like this. And whenever they can confound a churchgoer, they feel more empowered about their decision to leave quote-unquote religion behind, and they associate the Bible with their religion. So that's really what these concerted attempts to attack the Bible are all about. But Aaron Rodgers, he needs a lot of help. And the help that he needs is not biblical, because the Bible is not for him. What he really needs is the courage to come out of that damn closet and do like the liberal black woman says, live his truth. That's what he needs to do. Because the fissure or the fracture between himself and his Bible-thumping, church-going family is never going to be repaired, because it's very clear and it's very obvious that that is the source of the contention between Aaron Rodgers and his family. He's a homosexual, and they do not accept that life choice or that lifestyle. They just don't want to embarrass him publicly. So all of it's going to start coming out eventually. So now, brothers, I just wanted to go through a few scriptures just to add a level of context to some of the assertions that I made over the course of the video. And this is something that you're going to find many times with people who try to address the goings-on of the world. The first thing that they would do is express their doubt about the Most High, because he does not think how they think an omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent power should be thinking or operating or doing. So let's go through some of these scriptures very quickly. This is Isaiah, the 55th chapter, starting at the 8th verse. It states here, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." And brothers have to understand this, even though we call the Most High our Father, the distance between the Most High and a human being is not really the distance between a father and a son. It's more like the distance between a man and an amoeba. It's more along those lines. So I'm going to read verse 9 again. "For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." Okay, so now, brothers, this is a scripture out of the Apocrypha. For those of you who have a King James 1611 Bible or an Apocrypha, this is in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, starting at verse 13. It states, "For what man is he that can know the counsel of God? Or who can think what the will of the Lord is? For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable, and our devices are but uncertain." In other words, brothers, no matter what any of the contrivances of man are, or the plots, the plans that he thinks that he's going to hatch, whatever his personal philosophy is that he believes is fair to all or transcends what the word of the Most High states, it always comes to naught, because men have hidden agendas. The Most High has no need for a hidden agenda other than what he wants to preserve for certain chosen men of understanding to be revealed in their due time. He has no need for that, but men do. Men will approach you and tell you what they believe is best for you, but it's always what's really best for them. And it's the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. He acts as if he's going to be some vessel of light and liberation, his little earthly humanist propaganda and nonsense. But in reality, he's hiding because he's scared of being who he is. And sooner or later, it's going to come out that he is a quote-unquote homosexual. Once again, everything that I'm saying is alleged, but it's going to come out eventually. So I'm going to read verse 14 again. "For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable, and our devices are but uncertain." Verse 15, "For the corruptible body presseth down the soul, and the earthy tabernacle weigheth down the mind that muses upon many things." In other words, because we're confined to this fleshly body, we're prone to things that are going to exalt us in the flesh. That's why the word of the Most High is always preeminent, because he's pure spirit. Anyone in the spirit is not prone to temptations and vanities, things of that nature. In other words, he's telling us what's best for us. Verse 16, "And hardly do we guess aright at things that are upon earth, and with labor do we find the things that are before us. But the things that are in heaven, who hath searched out?" Once again, just letting us understand that the Most High and the angels, they operate on a whole other plane of existence, and their operations are above our comprehension. And like it states, we hardly know what the hell is going on earth. People like Aaron Rodgers, who act like he's going to break certain societal boundaries with his rhetoric, If you ask him about his own personal problems, he can't even solve those. It's like, dude, you cannot even get together with your family, but you're questioning the scriptures? Man, get out of here. Verse 17 states, and thy counsel who hath known, except thou give wisdom and send thy Holy Spirit from above. So in other words, you have certain men who were blessed by the Most High and from the Most High to be able to teach and understand certain things. And that's the level in which we interact with the Most High, always at his leisure and at his choosing. Verse 18, for so the ways of them which lived on the earth were reformed, and men were taught the things that are pleasing unto thee, and were saved through wisdom. That's talking about the giving of the law and the covenant to the Lord's chosen people. But once again, just getting back to the point, brothers, whenever you start to question the Most High for certain things that occur on the earth, you're heading down the wrong path. That's not something that you want to do. That's the road towards despair, and that's all atheism is the road towards hopelessness and despair. So now this is Job chapter 37, verse 5. It says, the Most High thundereth marvelously with his voice. Great things doeth he, which we cannot comprehend. Stop worrying about trying to think on the level of the Most High. You can't do it. Just stay in your lane. Like LeVar Ball said, stay in your lane and you won't crash. That's the best thing to do. The Most High has given us so much authority here in the earthly realm. Why worry about what he's doing in his realm? We have the choice to do whatever we want. People like Aaron Rodgers are mad at the Bible, not because it restricts his choices, but because it's an assault on his conscience. Deep down, he knows that what he thinks and what he's doing is not correct. So he wants to abolish any remembrance of the word of the Lord. And if you're paying very close attention, a lot of these quote-unquote atheists and people who believe in these various philosophies, they're getting more and more aggressive, as in very, very angry at people who believe in the scriptures. Like they're very confrontational, as if they want to start an altercation. Why is that? Because they believe, because you believe in the scriptures, that you're going to let somebody else walk all over them. And that's why I tell brothers, try to avoid any level of confrontation, but don't ever let anybody walk all over you. But once again, always use wisdom if you can. So now, brothers, this is 2nd Ezra in the Apocrypha, chapter 7, verse 19. It's going to state, and he said unto me, there is no judge above God, and none that hath understanding above the highest. For there be many that perish in this life, because they despise the law of God that is set before them. It's talking about Mr. Aaron Rodgers, people like him, people who want to embrace that life choice of homosexuality, lesbianism. Look at the stats with the CDC. I'm not saying that. They're providing the empirical evidence of that life choice and what the repercussions are. When I say the CDC, I'm talking about the Center for Disease Control. Look at the HIV and AIDS rates amongst people who choose that life choice as opposed to regular people. And you tell me what is what. But this society is so sick, they're trying to normalize that life choice by telling people who have HIV and other STDs that they have contracted from being a homosexual, that now we have medications for you so that you can continue that life choice, instead of just telling them that what you're doing is wrong. So now verse 21 says, for God hath given straight commandment to such as came, what they should do to live, even as they came, and what they should observe to avoid punishment. It's talking about the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. Verse 22, nevertheless, they were not obedient unto him, but spake against him, and imagined vain things. Once again, Aaron Rodgers is an example of that. He's spoken against the Most High, and he's imagining vain things. Or what type of benevolent deity would say that I'm going to cast you into hellfire and all these other things? The only people worried about stuff like that are people like him, who know that his conduct is going to cause him to fulfill a prophecy like that. Verse 23, and deceived themselves by their wicked deeds, and said of the Most High that he is not. Talking about what? These atheists out here, right? Brothers, there's no such thing as someone who does not believe in God. All these people believe in the Most High. They all do. It's just that there are some people who are angry at the Most High for whatever reason. Maybe it was because of what they were taught about the Most High as opposed to the truth. Maybe it's because the Most High offends them. Like Christ said, "Blessed is he who is not offended in me." Many of the aspects of the word offend people. So they'll claim God doesn't exist. Or like I stated already, they're mad at him for whatever reason. Maybe their brother got shot by someone else when they were little and they're mad at God. Some people are now mad at the Most High because of Kobe Bryant. Even Steph Curry, the so-called Christian, he posted something on Instagram saying many people's faith is being tested right now because Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash. I'm like, really? Your faith is being tested right now over that? If that's the case, you don't love the Most High. But as I've already shown in many videos about Steph Curry, that religious stuff is just a part of his programming anyway. So I don't take him seriously when it comes to that. But let's get back to these scriptures right here. It says here in verse 23, "And deceived themselves by their wicked deeds, and said of the Most High that he is not, and knew not his ways. But his law have they despised, and denied his covenants. And his statutes have they not been faithful, and have not performed his works." This verse right here is talking about you brothers, because y'all are the chosen of the Most High. So you're the only ones who could deny his covenant, because you're the only ones that he made the covenant with. Read Romans chapter 9 verse 4. Starting at verse 1, he tells you who he made the covenants with. So who's he mad at? He's mad at you. So that's why we have to stay on point to the best of our ability. None of us are perfect, but the Most High has given us a certain amount of mercy to repent for our sins, to ask for forgiveness. So let's move on. So now, brothers, this will be the last scripture. This is 2 Ezra chapter 4, verse 21. It states, "For like as the ground is given unto the wood, and the sea to his floods, even so they that dwell upon the earth may understand nothing but that which is upon the earth. And he that dwelleth above the heavens may only understand the things that are above the height of the heavens." So, brothers, don't waste time trying to worry about why the Most High said what he said, or being mad at God. It makes no sense whatsoever. We're only fit to understand terrestrial things, and the Most High only concerns himself with celestial things. He has certain angels or watchers that are here that preside over this realm in various capacities to watch over what is transpiring and things of that nature. But that's about it. Our job is to adhere to the laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability. When we fall short, acknowledge it and try to do better. And it's very basic stuff. Treat your neighbor how you want to be treated. Love the Most High with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul. And you'll basically cover all of those things. But anyway, just finishing off this video concerning Mr. Aaron Rodgers and the quote-unquote war against God. It doesn't make any sense to declare war against the Most High because you can't win. So peace.